So this is Audi Q5 and I'm telling you there's a 2-litre diesel engine in this and I've just done 1,000 kilometers and I don't need to put in more fuel in it. Lads, the thing of throwing away the diesel engine in favour of electric or some sort of petrol hybrid just seems so mad to me. Mad. I've no problem with electric cars per se. Don't get me wrong here. I'm an EV person. I have an EV. I drive an EV on a regular occasions. We test EVs. I like a lot of them. But this idea that we have to just dump electric or petrol or diesel or any of these other fuels in favour of something else when we can very easily just fill this up and drive for 1,200 kilometres. Look at the size of this thing. For 1,200 kilometres. And to put that in context, I have driven to Monaghan. I have driven to Navan. I have driven to Cork yesterday. All on the same tank of fuel, all without having to stop for fuel anywhere. Yes, I did stop for coffee for sure, but I didn't stop for any fuel. Not a single bit of it. Now I'm going to explain to you why it's absolutely insane that we're getting rid of diesel. I mean, the more you think about what we're trying to do is to just get rid of these engines and replace them with petrol hybrids or electric or PHEVs, all mostly petrol, because a diesel hybrid is really expensive because a diesel engine is expensive by itself. But when you're doing high mileage, like I've done, 1,000 kilometers between fuel ups just saves you time. Even if it doesn't save you money, you save so much time. You don't have to sit somewhere for 45 minutes, thing charging it up. The frustration level is high in my brain, but the Audi Q5 itself is a super machine. I've never been as comfortable in all my life. It does have some weird ticks and strange things that goes on, but the car itself is actually brilliant. One of the things I actually really like about the Q5 is the boot. So it's a big clamshell. The whole thing opens and you're left with a kind of an empty space, but it's such a big square empty space. It's really easy to put stuff in. I put a sideboard into this thing. A kind of what do you call it? A dressing table. We bought a second-hand dressing table, and I put it into this. No problem. The back seat of this thing. It has a tonneau cover here at the back as well to cover up your nice stuff. You can remove that. It's really good. Just a really good, honest space in here as well. And under the floor here, there's more space for little bits and pieces you want to put them around. But like, there's no spare wheel or anything in it. But that's okay. That's normal these days. I wish all cars came with a spare wheel, but they don't. It's a weight saving thing. They say it's CO2 and weight saving and all that sort of stuff. I don't believe them. I think it's just saving money. Anyway, let's go for a drive in this car. That brake pedal makes a very strange noise. What the hell is that about? So there's something clanking. Anyway, so things I noticed about this Audi Q5. First of all, the dash is very manual. It's very old school Audi and I really like that. I know you can have the 3D vision thing and you have all that stuff there in front, but I actually find it quite reassuring just to see a standard instrument binnacle in a car. Do have touchscreen here. I have to agree to this privacy policy thing every time because I'm not a registered user of this Audi. It's not my car, so I haven't set up my Audi in it. But I can if you really want to. If you want to personalize your vehicle, you can with Audi. I actually like the Audi system here. It's really straightforward. It's a nice and easy touchscreen thing. It's very straightforward, very simple to press a button and just go into that system. Oh, don't you dare. Copyright strike. So it's easy to flick in and out of the system here and make it work for you. Now at the same time I can also go into various other menus here and have a look at all kinds of stuff, but I notice that navigation is not installed anymore because the license has not been purchased, but that's a good thing because the price of the car should get less because you use your phone these days for sat nav. I mean, who doesn't use Google Maps or Apple Maps or Android or whatever version of maps or Waze or something to do your normal commuting around the place to see about traffic and stuff, because Google Maps has traffic built in, as does Apple Maps and Waze and all the rest of them. They all have traffic built in, so why wouldn't you use them rather than using the built-in system in the Audi or any brand car? Practicality wise, the car has plenty of storage on the middle here. There's some useless ones that I can't quite work out. That's like for a pen or something. There's this little hole here in the middle, and then there's kind of a slot up the front that things slide out of, and I can't quite work out what they're for, but they're useful when you find a purpose for them. easy to fit, big bottles of water straight into the door. I mean, just no effort at all there to fit that in. Electrically heated mirrors and things as well are all kind of a bonus to have in the car. Like, there's no downside to this. The only thing people ever talk about downside now is when it comes to diesel engines. But like, I'm looking at this engine going 948.7 kilometers, 110 left. The fuel light hasn't come on once all week. I haven't pulled in for petrol anywhere or diesel. I've only pulled in to go to the toilet or to go and get a cup of coffee or something to eat, and that's it. I mean, I'm sure I could charge the car up during that time, but there's no way. The week of work that I've had, I couldn't have done that. There's only a handful of electric cars that I could have done that in a reasonable amount of time, in a reasonable amount of stops. I would have had to stop much more often. So, like, even going to rally school would have involved me pulling over possibly twice from home, because rally school is a long way from me. So that's up to Monaghan and back. And I would have had to pull over and get fuel, electricity somewhere. Whereas in this, I didn't. I just kept going. It was fine. No stops, then Navan, and then down to Cork, and just super mileage that I've done this. Particularly yesterday, going on to Cork was mostly motorway, 120 kilometers an hour, or cruise control turned on the whole time. It was great. So what's the downside? I don't know. I can't find a reason why I can tell you that you should buy an electric version of this over a petrol version of this or a diesel version of this, other than if you live in a city, urban environment. And like we do every morning with our other car, so we have a second car as well. So we drive the kids to school and we do the shopping and the messages and that sort of stuff around the house. We do that in the other car, which is electric, fully electric. And we charge that at home, and we never charge on the street, and never goes very far from home. It just sits there. We've done some short journeys here and there, some long journeys as well since COVID has lifted, but realistically the car doesn't go very far. Now in that situation, that's a different story entirely. I'm talking about covering 1,000 kilometers here on the single tank of fuel, and it's not about saving money, it's about saving time. We are all time poor these days. And I mean that in all sincerity. We have an awful problem with how much time we can spend doing basically anything. And that time we want to spend it with our friends, our families, or whatever it is we're doing. We don't want to be sitting at a charge point in some miserable petrol station again, looking for another charge because we had to go and drive a little bit further this week. That just doesn't make any sense to me at all. And the more I think about it, the worse that feeling becomes. Yes, I have pulled over for the toilet. I've pulled over for something to eat. You know, it's very hard to find something to eat in a petrol station these days, is even remotely like healthy. So what is my gripe then when it comes to diesel versus petrol? The problem is, right now, EV people are making people question diesel, right? So when you question diesel, you go, well, maybe I should be driving an electric. So they go, I'm not sure about electric, so I'm going to buy a petrol. Petrol's higher CO2. So the CO2 emissions are going up, not down, right? So, okay, so let's buy a PHEV or a hybrid. Well, you know, they're still high CO2 because they're still petrol, right? You're not going to save any money. If I was to do 1,000 kilometers in a petrol-powered hybrid or even PHEV, I would have definitely put fuel in this by now. Definitely, possibly a couple of times at this stage, because it's an impossible situation for people to be in when they're trying to choose between petrol, diesel, electric, hybrid, mild hybrid, PHEV. You know, it's just so many different kinds. So I think I'm going to have to make it as simple as I possibly can. Here's the advice I give you. If your mileage includes very long journeys like I've made in this car, or is above 30,000 kilometers a year, and you don't want to have to stop regularly at a fast charge point, sit out in the rain or out in the cold in the back end of a car park and eat jam buns and wedges every day, then I think you should go for a petrol or for a diesel car, not petrol car. Then if you're under 30,000 kilometers, you're somewhere between the petrol, PHEV and electric cars, I think you make that kind of work, right? If you're anywhere near 10 to 15,000 kilometers a year, you should be picking an electric. End of story. Full electric, you've no business looking at anything else. You might as well just go full electric because you're going to save money on that. And you'll have no frustration, just charge it at home and leave it at that. Now I know in the comments down below there's going to be a stack of people who come in, but I'm driving 50,000 kilometers a year and I have no problem whatsoever, and I go on forever. I'm warning you, the frustration of charge points of the lack of infrastructure. The second you go outside the city environment, the lack of infrastructure is a big problem. Secondly, the queuing for electric things. I was at Junction 417 a week ago in a car and had to queue for one charge point in the place. I drove an ID3 down to Waterford to see how far I could drive the car, and when I got there I realised there was no charge point. Nearest one was going to be Gorey, which is in Wexford, it's in a different county. Nearest fast charge point. So the lack of infrastructure is a massive headache for these cars as well, but not for this. If you want just happy, cruisy, particularly outside city driving, if you're in rural Ireland of any kind, you'll be mad right now to look at anything other than this for torque, for towability, for range, for all the things that you look at electric cars for. This can do right now. And I don't want to seem like a dinosaur, but I'm telling you, people in Dublin buying a diesel car, you're the problem. That's it. You're the problem. Because that doesn't suit environment stuff, doesn't suit urban environment at all. Electric cars do. PHEVs are pretty good in an urban environment. But when you get out here on the wide open road that I'm sitting on right now, and you just want to sit on a motorway and just drive for, I don't know, 1,000 kilometers, like I've just done, this is your only option. If you want to do that in any sort of reasonable time, lads, I couldn't have driven to Cork and back the other day without fully charging the car at home, driving all the way there, then charging it somewhere down in Cork, and driving all the way home again, and then charging it up when I got home. That's it. It's not an effort to charge at home much, just plug the car in to your charge point, but it's just, this is just so much sense to sit here, 954 kilometers, still no fuel lighters, come on. Anyway, if you want more sensible reviews, click on the subscribe button down below, which is really useful to me, please. You can check out bobflavin.com if you want to buy like a hoodie that I'm wearing here, or you want to buy anything that we have there. We're expanding the stock levels there, it's a bit busy at the moment. And a new podcast will be coming out soon, myself and Desmond Hare, and there's a podcast called Bobcast already out with a few people interviewed on that, so we want to talk about that as well. There's so much going on, so much going on. Also, you can join over on TikTok, where I do like 1 minute sort of reviews of cars and things, and there's 104,000, 106,000, I can't remember if it's 106,000, 104,000 of us strong there. We're down at a car show the other day as well, it was really nice. And more car shows coming up over the summer, so it'll be an interesting little summer, see how we get out of lockdown with COVID and all that sort of stuff. But the car shows are back, outdoor events seem to be back. Not in any great numbers, right, but there's still a good few people turning up, which is nice. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, I'll see you on the far side.